Time to unveil my latest NFL mock draft. We'll do full round one projections, plus teams who don't have a first-round pick, we'll project picks for them as well, as this is a pre-NFL Combine mock draft. We'll also do a post-Combine mock, so stay tuned for that. And speaking of which, we're dropping mock drafts probably like every other week. At this point, we'll get to a point where we do at least one per week. We got 43 new subscribers on our last mock. Can we top it today? Can we get 44 new subs? If you want more draft content, prove it by subscribing to the channel. All right, my name is Harrison Graham. Mock drafts, I don't even know what number this is, 7.0 something. Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders. Last time I traded him because I promised I would. Unless new intel comes in, the Raiders are going to draft the quarterback out of Indiana. I'm going to go Arvell Reese to the Jets at number 2. Is he an off-ball linebacker? Is he an edge? That continues to be heavily debated. I'm sure there will be a lot of talking points at the Combine, but most people tend to think he'll go number 2 overall. I'm a little skeptical, but I'll stick with that for now. I'll go Francis Mauigoa, 3rd overall to the Cardinals. They could go in a number of different directions here. They could take a Jeremiyah Love. They could go with an offensive lineman, whether that's Fano or Mauigoa. How does their quarterback outlook factor into all this? Who's their quarterback going to be? But the Mauler out of Miami is who I have going 3rd overall. Okay, trade alert. I do have a few trades in today's mock. I have the Saints moving up from 8 to 4. They'll give up 42 and a 5th-round pick next year to do it, as Tennessee will drop to 8. David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech. I actually think this Saints team, if they can get a productive pass rusher to add to that defense, which Bailey I think would be, and if they could add a receiver later on in the draft or in free agency. If Tyler Shuck continues to progress, I think New Orleans could be a team that wins the NFC South next year. That division kind of stinks. So I like going up and getting one of the best pass rushers, maybe the best pure pass rusher in this draft. Caleb Downs to the Giants. John Harbaugh is already on the record. He would be perfectly cool with drafting the safety out of Ohio State. I know people talk positional value, but he is a versatile, game-changing type of DB in my opinion. And again, in this draft, there's not a lot of true blue-chip talents. He's one of them. Just take him. I think it would be a good pick by New York. Okay, I'm going to go Makai Lemon to the Browns, I think, as they have 2 first-round picks. Offensive line, wide receiver. They could go Fano here. If Mauigoa is there, they could take him. They could take Carnell, Tate, or Jordyn Tyson instead. I'm going to go Makai Lemon, though, the receiver out of USC. Rueben, Bain to the Commanders. I just think they got to load up on that defense. I think they would love Caleb Downs, but he's already off the board, so I'm going to go Rueben, Bain, BPA situation. Other than maybe Jeremiyah Love, you could argue he's a safer pick, but Commanders got to go off or defense. I'm going to go running back for the Titans. I know consistently I've done offensive line or receiver, but I think a dynamic running back also helps Cam Ward in that offense. They could cut or trade Tony Pollard, hand the keys to Jeremiyah Love. When was the Titans at their best this century? When they had a bell cow and Derrick Henry. I'm not saying Jeremiyah loves Derrick Henry, but he is pretty damn good. I like that addition to that offense. So Jeremiyah Love is going to be a fan favorite for a lot of teams. Name a player you want your favorite team to draft this year. Okay, trade alert, another trade here. I'm going to trade down for Kansas City. I think they'd love Jeremiyah Love at number 9, but since he just went, they trade down with Detroit. They pick up 17 and 50. The Lions get the 9th pick and a 5th-round pick as well. And they come up and get Spencer Fano. Now, Fano is a right tackle at Utah, so would you flip Sewell to the left side? Can Fano flip over? If he's that big of a prospect, I would think he could play on the left side, but there's been a lot of rumblings that Detroit wants to reinvest into the offensive line. Taylor Decker could get cut, or it could be his final year, so maybe you play Fano at guard for a season. Talented player. I think you just draft a guy like this and kind of figure it out. Okay, at number 10, Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. I think his stock is going to reemerge here. Didn't have a great season, but he might have the highest upside among any of these defensive tackles, especially as a pass rusher, and he's still only 20, 21 years old, and the Bengals need dudes on that side of the football. We go Carnell Tate to the Dolphins at 11. They obviously cut Tyreek Hill, so they need another receiver to go with Jalen Waddle. They could sign Malik Willis as well, so they could try to revamp that offense quickly. Sonny Styles, another Buckeye. He goes to the Cowboys at number 12 overall. They need dudes at all 3 levels on defense, and Styles is probably the best player available. I thought about one of the corners for Dallas, but it's kind of a dream scenario for the Rams. Sitting at 13, no corners off the board. You could take Jermod, McCoy. I went Mansoor, Delane. I think it's the safer route with McCoy missing all of last season with an injury. Rams need to bolster that secondary. Jordyn Tyson to the Ravens at 14. Something deep inside me still thinks he could be the best receiver in this draft, but he's had some injury concerns. Curious to see what it looks like at the Combine. Okay, Jermod McCoy to Tampa at 15 overall. We'll see what happens with some of their free agents on defense, but the Buccaneers' defense has not played great the last couple of years. Okay, Caleb Banks to the Jets. I think he's going to be one of these guys that turns heads at the Combine. A little bit older of a prospect, does have a prior foot injury, so the medical is going to be important, but the Jets got to reinvest in that front after trading Quinnen Williams at the trade deadline. Okay, we got plenty more to come here on this mock draft, but got to tell you guys about our sponsor first. That is Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right, Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, every board that much more exciting, so don't miss the chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Football might be over, but I'm just getting started with Prize Picks as the hoops action is heating up. We got baseball around the corner as well. Regardless of sport, pick more or less on player stat projections, 2 to 6 player lineups, and you are good to go on a Prize Picks lineup. Little 2-player action that I played on Prize Picks recently. I took more on James Harden's points, and then I took less on Jalen Johnson's points. $20 lineup to win $60. That's a simple 2-player lineup, but tons of stats available, tons of sports available. Pick more, pick less. Check it out. Prize Picks, download the app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Okay, Vega, Ioane? I'm going to have this down by the end of the Combine. The guard out of Penn State, he's been moving up. I think he's going to be a top 20 pick. He's the best interior offensive lineman in this draft. Kingsley Suamataia, not great. They tried that at guard last year. I think they could upgrade here with the Penn State guard. Okay, Dillon, Thieneman, the Oregon safety. He's been moving up boards too. It's either going to be him or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety out of Toledo, as the second safety off the board after Caleb Downs. I think this guy is someone that Brian Flores would love. Can do a lot of different things. He can play in the nickel. He can play both safety spots. Versatility is the name of his game. TJ Parker, the edge out of Clemson, had a good Senior Bowl week. I think he's reestablished himself as a first-round pick. Powerful pass rusher that needs to add some secondary moves, but should be a good run defender right away. Cassius Howell, the edge out of Texas A&M. He's kind of the opposite variety of pass rush moves. Not great against the run, little undersized, so I don't think he's going to be setting the edge consistently early on. Needs to add some strength, but it wouldn't shock me if we looked up at the end of his rookie year and it's like, oh, he had 8 sacks. I think he could be really, really good as a pass rusher early on. Okay, Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver out of Indiana. He is a riser. I think there's a better chance than not he goes in the first round of this draft. I thought about Denzel Boston here for Pittsburgh, but Cooper, to me, adds a different kind of flavor in comparison to DK Metcalf, a big receiver that they already have. So I like this addition for the Steelers. Keldrick Falk, the kind of big edge rusher out of Auburn. I think you could kick him inside some. Jim Harbaugh loves him, some versatile defensive linemen. So I think this could be a nice fit for the Chargers. Avion Terrell, I think that second corner spot is still kind of a sneaky position the Eagles need. You know, a lot of people will say, well, they trade A.J. Brown, what about receiver? Could they go tight end with a guy like Sadiq, offensive line? Well, Lane Johnson's back. It sounds like Landon Dickerson's going to be back as well. Avion Terrell, kind of a BPA situation. I like that addition. Monroe Freeling, we went receiver at 6 with Cleveland. You come back, still get a tackle that a lot of people are really like. I mean, he might be off the board by this point. Athletic left tackle. Limited playing time at Georgia, really only a 1-year full-time starter, but the upside is there. Size, measurables, athleticism. With a big combine, he could be a top 15 pick. Okay, trade alert. I am going to have the Bears trade down with the Jets. they're going to come back in and pick for the third time in the first round. They move up from 33 to 25. The Bears also get 44, a second-round pick. Jets get 89, a third-round pick. And I'm going to have them come back into the draft and get Ty Simpson. What does this remind you of? It reminds you of what the Giants did last year with Jackson Dart. Now, Jackson Dart looks like a hit so far, but why did they do that? The Giants were desperate with a lame duck head coach and GM. Somehow the GM survived. Well, the Jets could be desperate with a lame duck head coach in Aaron Glenn. Added 2 defensive guys early, come back into the first round, get Ty Simpson, the quarterback at Alabama, who I personally don't love, but there's a lot of buzz that he could still go in the first round. Denzel Boston still on the board at 26. I mean, this would be a dream for Buffalo. If he could fall this far, I think he's got wide receiver 1 potential in the NFL, but at minimum, I think you put him into that receiver room and he's productive. Kenyon Sadiq, I think this would be an interesting fit. We don't know exactly when George Kittle is going to be fully healthy coming off that torn Achilles, and the Niners are going to need weapons offensively, whether it's receiver or tight end. So, Kyle Shanahan would have fun with a player like this. Caden Proctor to the Texans at 28. It sounds like Ariante Ursary is their left tackle of the future, but you could play Proctor on the right side. You could play him at guard. I think he's going to have some versatility in the NFL, and that offensive line still needs to improve to protect C.J. Stroud. Okay, at 29, I kind of just went with something the Rams are lacking a little bit, and that is a true run stopper. They have multiple good edge rushers in Jared Verse and Byron Young. They've got Braden Fisk, but he's more of an interior pass rusher. He's not really a run stopper. Caden McDonald, I don't love his upside as a pass rusher, but he's a very good run defender. So I think at this point in the draft, he fills a role for a team that really only has to fill a couple of needs, and I was able to do that with both their picks as they get Mansoor, Delane, and Caden McDonald. Okay, Lee Hunter to the Broncos at 30. I thought about C.J. Allen here, but Hunter obviously is a player that could sneak into the first round as well. Really good Senior Bowl, good senior season at Texas Tech. And the Broncos are loaded at edge. They're not as deep at interior defensive line, especially if they lose John Franklin Myers. So you get a guy like Lee Hunter to come in there and help bolster that unit. Akeem Messidor, if he was not going to be 25 next year, I think he'd be a top 10, top 15 pick, but he is older and perfect outcome for the Patriots, right? They are not great on the edge defensively, especially from a pass rushing standpoint. Messidor is one of the better pure pass rushers in the draft, but he's a little bit older, so he falls to 31. And then Kristen Miller, the defensive tackle out of Georgia, goes to Seattle. Leonard Williams is getting up there in age. They could opt to go younger on that defensive line as they start to develop some guys there. So I think it's just a good value pick there for Seattle for a position that they're probably going to transition off some guys in the next 12 months. Okay, the teams that did not have a first-round pick, the Bears do, but they traded out. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, I think if Miller was there, they'd probably go that route, but they get the safety out of Toledo, a position they still need to attack. Anthony Hill, linebacker, goes to the Colts at 47. Romello Height, Texas Tech, edge to the Falcons. They would love to not have to draft an edge, but given the James Pierce Jr. situation, they probably will. Dante Corleone, the defensive tackle out of Cincinnati, goes to Green Bay. And then the Jags take Emmanuel Pregnon, who is maybe the second best guard in this draft. I don't know if he'll fall this far, the guard out of Oregon, but that is a position Jacksonville could look to attack, especially if they move on from Ezra Cleveland. Okay, grade your favorite team's mock pick in this draft. How did you feel about your pick? If you were a Jets fan with the 3 selections, A, B, C, D, or F, whatever. If you didn't like the pick, let me know why. If you love the pick, let me know why. Or just drop a simple letter grade and let me know which team you're representing as well. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to 4 Verts. Again, we will have a mock draft after the Combine as well. A lot of things will change. We'll get some of these testing results, so we'll lock in for that. Lock us in. We have coverage from the Combine all week long. We'll see you soon with another video.